Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RuCap here on Reality TV RHAP Ups. I'm your host, Liana Boris, and we are here to talk about the premiere episode, or I guess part one of the premiere, of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14.
Woo.
I had so much fun with this episode, so I cannot wait to break everything down with our fabulous panel. So first, let me welcome in Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I'm great. I also had a lot of fun with this episode. It really feels like, they went to the store, grabbed all of the ingredients that make Drag Race really, really fun, put them into like this great big pot of jambalaya, if it were, and made that shit work. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that this sort of like lasts and that we continue to stay on this high level of excitement before things go south.
Yeah, they definitely didn't forget the Tony Chachere's got all the spices, the seasoning that they need in there, because I think this really was a recipe for a successful episode of Drag Race. And also with us today, of course, we have Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
So good. I'm so good. I had such a good time with this episode. I can't wait to break it down. And I haven't been this excited. You remember last year we were like, oh, we're only halfway through the premiere. And now we're like, ooh, we're halfway through. There's more. Like, we're excited. So I like this stark contrast between last year's season 13 premiere, part 1, and this year. So I'm excited to break it all down with you guys.
Yeah, so I think
fan coming from Aman now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have one of those now. Let me just something slight for the girls.
I'm gonna have to get one for Liana. We can all have a fan.
Well, I was gonna say I am like so cold right now. I've got like blankets and wrapped up. I got tea. It's freezing. I can hear the wind outside.
It is definitely January something.
Yeah. Got snow on the ground. Okay, so let's get into all of the fabulousness. So I think the main thing we got to start talking about is the format of the premiere episode, because we know it's going to be 2 parts. We get 7 queens, 7 queens. And I think one thing that I've noticed, Beth, is like the Drag Race is hearing the criticism that we don't get to know the first girls. Yeah. We don't get to know them. And so I think that this is another way to try to get us to know some of these queens.
I think so too. And I think that what I'm really appreciating out of production is that we're not hiding or making the queens go, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like we have in the edit, they're fully being like, oh, so we know it's a split premiere again. Great. Yep. We have Bosco saying, great, this is going to give people an opportunity to really see me for who I am in the first episode. So it's, we're not dumbing it down to the audience at all. We're not like, oh no, what's happening? Is there, there's only 7 of us? Like,
yeah, like none of that dumb shit. Like, I feel like it really lends itself to like why this sort of episode just felt like fresher and newer, and not just because it's a brand new season, but yeah, it kind of feels like a new era of the show, the era where the edit doesn't have to be so heavy-handed, or the era where they're not going to treat us like we're dumbasses. Like, yeah, it's a split premiere. The 7 other girls must be on the other way, and so we'll see them when we see them. But hey, sis, like I like it. I mean, at first I was kind of like, oh, I just want to see everybody, because we just spent that entire drafting podcast, right. And I was like, I want to see all the people that I drafted, and I got to see one of them today, which was, if there was one that I had to wait for, then it would have been this one. But yeah, I feel like it's nice because when there's 7 queens, yes, you obviously get to see all of them and get to know them a little bit more. But it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, like there's nowhere to hide, so you really have to show out or you're going to go home. But on the flip side, if you do well, you're a little bit more memorable because your win is less lost in the sea of pussy willows. So it'll be fun.
The sea of pussy willows is a fantastic phrase. We should use that.
Now I just wanted something coming to America, right? Like that's what we're going for here. I think for me, part of me, I totally see what you're saying, Aman, because I want to eat all the candy all at once. Like, give me every single flavor. I want to taste it all. And this is a little bit like the adult in me now. I'm like, you'll get a tummy ache. Like, don't
Yeah.
eat all. Just savor it. Enjoy the 7 flavors that you have right now. Next week, you'll get to have all 7, 7 new flavors. And then
Finish
the
your
week after that,
cornbread.
yes,
Finish your
finish your
jambalaya.
greens, like, before you have your dessert. And so I get to sort of have those. And then the third week, you get to see them all interact together. Because I think then that's another element that is always so fun, is seeing these really strong personalities interact with one another. And of course,
It's like the merge on Survivor, but
oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's merge episode 3. I can get behind that.
And I think the reason why I like this season so much better is because we're getting to know the queens through the talent show rather through this stupid pork chop lounge situation where we're like, let's crush dreams in the first day. That's not as much fun to watch as like, let's see what people think that will like put their best foot forward in the competition, introduce themselves to the audience and to the judges, in production, just in general, and do it in a way that is more organic than, hey, why don't you guys are losers group, go be together, and then winners group, you're gonna go. Like, I liked the season 6 split where you had like, the first group versus the second group, and by episode 4 they're like all completely intermixed. Like, I felt like one of the things that was kind of a source of drama, but really just was lame production driven drama in season 13 was this whole like pork chop lounge girls versus the winner's circle. And that didn't come off like as genuine. Like, it just was like, hey,
I feel like no one really wants to see that. Like, it's like, like the whole like, let's knock you down and then build you back up narrative really isn't the serve that I think producers think it is on reality TV. So yeah, I agree. Just like, you already gave them the access, you gave them keys to the competition. They're here, they're all happy and everything. Now let them be happy, let them perform at their most heightened excitement, and then crush their dreams. Like, I don't need for them to walk into the workroom and then get their dreams crushed. Like, that's stupid to me. Just like, have them perform at their best when they feel like when they're really feeling their oats, and then say, actually, sis, sashay away. Like, it's if you did what you did, but it wasn't good enough. Now bye. That to me feels a little bit more. I feel it more. Like, I really didn't want to see the person that went home today go home. I didn't want to see any of them go home because they did such a good job of showcasing who these queens were. So I agree entirely.
So, I mean, obviously compared to last season, this is 1,000% improvement, right? So I think that comparison, Avi, very clear. What is interesting is to think about season 6 versus season 12. So season 6, right? We had Queens Go Home, which is what we had here in the split premiere. In season 12, we had it was the 2 groups against each other. I mean, they weren't really, they just each did, I think one did Phenomenon, one did, was that that was season 13. What am I thinking of? What were the 2 songs that they did in
one was in season 12? It was I'm that bitch. I'm that bitch.
Yes, I'm that bitch. I think, did they both do I'm that bitch? Oh, and you don't know me?
Yes. I can only remember I'm that bitch. So I guess that group
I'm
going to
be honest, all RuPaul songs are starting to just like blend into one song for me. I used to be able to like be such a super fan. I'd be like, oh no, that is definitely the version that has Michelle Visage's features in it, but that's not the other one. Like, I mean, like, I can't do that anymore.
No, same. Maybe they both did on that bitch. Anyway, whatever.
I can't remember.
Or no, was it like a Fosse? Didn't someone have to do Fosse? Why do I remember that being a thing? Whatever. Okay, we're not here to talk about history of RuPaul's Drag Race. The point I'm trying to make, thank God, is that both season 12 and season 13 did these sort of 2 non-elimination episodes. So my question is, do we think that Orion is actually gone, or do we think that there's going to be sort of she'll be brought back, like the first 2 queens eliminated from these first 2 episodes? Just going off of the history of the past 2 seasons, they haven't actually eliminated anybody. So I wonder if this is, okay, are we going back to season 6 style where they're gone, or is this sort of a merge between, well, we want to give the drama of someone going home, but we're not actually going to eliminate them?
Well, it's interesting because normally the audience is brought in on the, hey, like, you're not going home yet, like with that, ooh, girl, like message or something like that. But we didn't see anything. And genuinely, when Orion goes home, I was like actually very genuinely heartbroken. Like, her reaction was so broken, and I felt so bad. It reminded me a lot of like when James Mansfield goes home in the first elimination of season 9.
He came in first.
Yeah, but then she's like, be kind, like
yeah,
it's just
please
like
be on the internet, please be nice or whatever.
And I was just like, oh my God, I'll be so nice to you, James. But I had like that same kind of like, like almost like broken puppy kind of like look in Orion's eyes. So I hope that we get to see her come back or something, because I think that look wise, I love Orion's look. And I love her sense of fashion and such, but
I think she's gone, and I'm also sad by it. I mean, when they show your ass getting in that car, like they're not just calling that car for you to go around the block. They're calling that car to take your ass home. You know what I mean? So
that's going right to LAX. That one is
right to there. Like it was lovely having you. Thank you for your stay. Please, make sure you have all your items and belongings, and we'll see you next time, girl.
We booked the chicken for you on this flight.
Put your seat in the upright position.
Because we do know that there is some sort of twist that is coming up, right? With these chocolate bars, where we're all assuming that the chocolate bar is like somebody's salvation or redemption or key to safety or immunity or something. So I think we are going to lose 2 queens off the top. And then somewhere along the lines, those chocolate bars are going to come in and save maybe 2 queens. And then we'll be right back on the usual prolonged schedule of Drag Race until December 2022. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was kind of why I was thinking about it, because of that unclear twist that we know has something to do with candy bars, right? I mean, is there anything else we know about it? I don't think so. I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation that it's like, some former Big Brother twists and that kind of thing, but I don't think we have any confirmation, at least at this point.
They get the diamond power of veto.
Which
the golden ticket, the Willy Wonka bar, the everlasting gobstopper, or something like that.
In Willy Wonka, like it was he was like screening children to take over the factory. So is this a replacement for RuPaul?
Oh my God, please. We need that for all winter season.
Oh, and then whoever gets the golden ticket and is like selected after torturing the rest of the queens gets.
Yeah.
Which we know, if you're going to say torture, it's just Bianca Del Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, yeah. So look, that's pretty much everything I have to say about the sort of the format. I think one thing, Beth, that you brought up was about the main challenge this episode, the fact that they went to the talent show, which is something that we've seen for All-Star seasons, but we've never seen for a regular quote unquote season of Drag Race. And so I thought that was actually a really fabulous choice, because if you genuinely want to, you are giving the onus to the queens, which I also think maybe covers their asses a little bit, because it's like, look, we let you do whatever you wanted. So you can't claim any type of rigor girl when you say, oh, blah, 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 whatever, right? They're like, we gave you 2 minutes to do whatever you wanted, and it was your choice.
Yeah. And that's why, and I also love that we're clearly seeing, either because Drag Race has much more coin or because they have rights to things or whatever. It always used to be you couldn't lip sync because they didn't have rights to anything, which is why queens were writing original songs. And then it just turned into a really great marketing, like, oh, it's the first episode, like, here's my single, like, whatever. But now we're starting to see, like, the fact that we had, like, Nicki Minaj playing for Carrie Colby's, like, clearly they got rights on this show, and they already had that as a lip sync. So maybe it's like, if we've done the song, we might still have the rights, and there's like a list or something that you can choose from. But I mean, like
they had her on the show. At this point, I'm like, if you're gonna have Nicki Minaj in the flesh, you might as well just like have all of her music. It's like you just sign it right on over to RuPaul. Like once they're on the show, it's like, all right, you sell your soul, you sell your catalog to the devil, essentially.
It's part of the contract now.
Yeah.
And I just think like it makes more sense, because the whole point of like so many drag queens when they perform is that they're doing lip syncs. Like they do that in the club, they do it on tour, they're doing it on college campuses. Like that is what for the most part they're doing, or they're doing hosting or pageants. Like that's really what it is. And of course, I have a package arriving right now, so I will be right back.
She got the golden ticket. It's the bar.
Oh my God, yeah. It's oh my God, I can't believe I just got this. So anyway, I had completely forgot what Beth was talking about, so I hope she remembers when she shows back up.
She was not.
No, it's fine. We're definitely not thrown for a loop. We're profesh, sis.
What'd you get?
I have no idea.
Go get it, girl. Go get it. What if it's fun?
Oh no, it's so here's what I've learned about living in New York City. If they can't get the person and the number that they're trying to deliver, they'll just literally hit everybody. So it was my turn. I'm on the 3rd floor, so I get hit very often to open up the door for the entirety of all the delivery people. So I don't even know if I got anything. It could have just been for somebody else.
Well, okay. So Nicki Minaj, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the guest this episode, Lizzo, because wow. She is so fun. So, okay, I like when I heard that Lizzo was going to be back as a guest judge, I so distinctly remember her from season 10 because I had never heard of Lizzo before that. I think as a lot of people had, because it took a while for her music to kind of blow up. Like she had her, what ended up becoming sort of her biggest singles with like Good as Hell had been out for a while.
Yeah, it was like 2016 or something like that. Yeah.
And it didn't end up blowing up until like later 2018 after she was a guest judge. So she was a relatively unknown at the time, at least in terms of the mainstream. I remember my friend like calling me and being like, "Hey, have you heard the rest of Lizzo's catalog? It's actually really good." And so we like started listening to it. It's like, oh, to see how far she's come was so cool to have her be like the premier guest judge. And I thought she absolutely deserved it and was really fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been lovely to see her sort of blow up too, because I mean, I'd known who she was sort of like peripherally because one of my good friends from college was really into her, but I never really paid attention. And then I think one of her songs was on some Netflix movie, and it got really, really. I think it was what's, oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of the song. The biggest one.
Good as Hell.
Good as Hell.
No, the other one. My god. On a Minnesota Viking. Truth Hurts.
Yeah,
there we go.
Truth Hurts. Yeah.
I think of it. I think that was like on some Netflix movie, and it just blew up from there. And then she was on Drag Race, and yeah, it just sort of she just bursted all over the place. And now she's at the Met Gala, and now she's with having songs with like Cardi B and Ariana Grande's hopping on remixes, and like she's just everywhere. She's having her moment right now. So I think Lizzo just has like that magnanimous, good as hell energy that it's just just lends itself well, especially in queer spaces. I mean, the gays just love her; they can't get enough of her. So of course, I was really wondering who are they going to have for like the season, because they've been making it a practice of having these big names come in for the premiere episode, and of course Lizzo. Of course, I don't know. I guess because she'd already been on before, she just wasn't in my preview. But of course, that makes all the sense in the world.
I love Lizzo. I follow her on every social media platform. Her TikToks are like some of my favorite things in the world. And the number one thing that, as a curvier woman myself, one of the things I just love is how much she just loves her body. And it's in a world where we're constantly like breaking down people for being overweight or obese or curvy or whatever the case might be. I just love that you have someone who's like, I'm a fat bitch. I look beautiful, and what? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly the energy we need in 2022. So I love somebody who just radiates self-love, and that's what she does. And she also is so good about lifting up everybody else around her. And so she's a perfect judge for Drag Race for that reason, because she will tell you the truth about how she feels, but at the same time, she's going to do it from a place of love and try to water you with some like self-confidence and just, give you your roses. And I love that. And that's a great first judge to have.
I mean, Water Me was the song.
I know. I tried to do like that. I just
look at you. You're so clever. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about her too is that, I mean, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, but just how she, I think sometimes we have these people that come on the show to guest judge, and they're just happy to be there. They're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna be on RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like such a good show to be on right now. Oh my god, right? Publicist, thanks. But like with freaking Lizzo, she actually comes and gives good critiques, unique critiques, things that these queens can take. And it's like when Lady Gaga came and like had like handwritten notes for every single queen and like took over the entire Untucked episode. I was like, okay, Gaga, this ain't about you, but thank you, sis. But no, she just she really just comes and she gives a shit, and she wants to be there, and she's happy to be there. And And she was
Goes toe to
funny.
toe with
She's
Michelle Visage.
She's not afraid to disagree with the other judges, and yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of
I
fun
love
with
that.
her.
I think that was my favorite moment when she's like, "Do not come from my girl cornbread." It's like, yes, stand up for. And it's just so refreshing to have a guest judge, who is willing to actually share their own perspective, which is always really fun. Pops into the workroom, but in a way that wasn't so Gaga-esque that it was so overwhelming. It was just she was there to just say hi to the queens and hang out and kiki and hang out. So
I love it.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Yeah, definitely love
fucking
that.
Gaga. I would never forget when she was back in that Untucked and she was going down everybody's name, and then she got to Aja and she was like, Aja? She was like, no, Aja. It's like, girl, you knew it was Aja.
Aja?
Like, literally, RuPaul said Aja on the stage like 10 times. Get out of here. I was so over her.
To be fair, you can't really go with what RuPaul says because he messes around with queens' names so often. Like, it very well could Will Pill.
Oh,
I
my
guess,
God.
yeah.
I can't with that, Beth. As the first time I heard it, I was like, oh no. And then the third, and then the fourth, and then the fifth. And I was just dying inside. And you can see Willow's, the look on her face is just, because it's this.
She's like, I've been chosen.
Yes,
I've been chosen as the favorite. It's me. It's me.
like,
what do I do?
Will Pill.
Obviously, I'm not going to speak on behalf of anybody, but if I was in Willow Pill's shoes and Rue decided to change my name to Willow Pill, oh, honey, no. I would be so upset about that.
Was that what she was going for in her name? Because now that RuPaul has like made that assumption, and she's like never corrected her on it. So I'm like, is that what it was about? And I'm like, he's just taking it to the extreme.
I don't think so.
Or has RuPaul sort of just like made this thing up in his mind? Like, it's very crazy.
We all know RuPaul makes up this kind of shit and thinks that everybody else is in his mind and thinks it's funny, and it's just not the case. It was so cringe. It was bad. All I could think about was like, oh, this is this year. Like, Beth got all upset about the I-90 interstate in New York last year. He kept saying the cities incorrectly and there was no order to it. I'm like, oh, you know what? I would take that back because at least there was that made not even for Utica because it didn't make sense. She wasn't from Utica, New York, but I just was like, okay, well, that makes sense to a subset of people, which is like, the 1% of people who watch the show in upstate New York. That's about it.
I'm just not a
Will Pill doesn't land with anybody, RuPaul, and I need you to stop.
Will Pill.
And that's the thing is that I have never in any of the, again, brief, albeit interviews, when Willow Pill has to introduce herself, I have never heard her say Willow Pill. So
Willow Pill.
Oh God, even saying it now, I'm like hating myself inside.
Will Pill.
Yeah. Okay, I think that we need to start a petition for RuPaul to just stop.
Change.org.
Change.org.
Power of the people. We all know.
Call your representatives.
Silence him.
Forgiveness.
The America gets to choose the main judge on one episode per season. Let's just get him out of there one good time for a palate cleanser.
Thank you. When we are talking about true reform, no, not student loan forgiveness, not preventing, not preventing our senators from being able to trade individual stocks. No, we are talking
defund RuPaul's Drag Race.
Defund RuPaul.
Defund RuPaul himself.
Specifically RuPaul. Defund World of Wonder.
Okay. All right. Look, all criticism aside, what do we want to talk about next? What about thoughts on the queens? I mean, is there anybody who you guys felt like, oh, going into this, I have a certain perception of a queen, and then now after the episode being over, oh, wow, I'm surprised. For good or for worse?
I mean, I think Cornbread gave us exactly what I was afraid of, but also elated to see. Just, she's big personality, naturally funny. Everybody loves her. She's clearly going to be here for the long haul. She probably got the most DRs out of anybody. She's fun. The fact that when they were doing that mini challenge and that wheel, she was making that wheel spin by herself.
Like, how did she do that?
I don't know.
I feel like there was somebody behind.
That's what I thought too.
Okay.
The pit crew disappeared. I was like, did they where'd they go? They're working from home remotely. I was like, what is going on today? But she was so funny. She was just a lot of fun. It just everything I thought that she was going to be, she delivered in that episode. So Yeah, I'm a fan of Cornbread. Obviously, Carrie Colby. I mean, what is it? What else can there be said? Just
Stun.
That is a
stunning
work of
woman.
art of a human being.
And she probably had my favorite look on the runway. And like I'm doing my best to like temper myself to like I don't want to just like, throw her flowers just because she looks good, because looks are only one thing, you know what I mean? But like sometimes you just gotta call a beautiful spade a fucking sexy ass spade. Like it is what it is. Like
I loved her entrance look. That just like super ethereal makeup with just the hints of the trans flag colors.
And the fact that she won that mini challenge with that, like, because half of those shots had to have been with that thing over her face, and she still won.
And she still won. And here's the thing, she never allowed for that to like get her out of character. Like a lot of queens, when they have like whatever that weird photo shoot is going to be, oh, you're going to be in the water, you're going to jump into a pit, you're going to do these things. The fact that she still came out, and even through having all like drapes over her face, or whatever, was able to still serve face and look so stunned. Like, I mean, oh God, she was so beautiful.
And she seems like really sweet too, and very humble. Like obviously she knows she's great and everything, and she's beautiful, and all the queens showed her so much love when she walked into the workroom. She's like, well, I mean, I guess they're feeling the fantasy, like, but she's like it's very tongue in cheek with her. She's not like full of herself from what we see so far. I mean, maybe shit will hit the fan later on in the season, but for now, it feels just nice to just give her flowers, because she owns it. She's beautiful. It's great.
She was also super supportive, I would say, in Untucked, which is always so, just really nice to see. And I am, oh my gosh, she's just so stunning.
Can I bring up something that came up on slight drama on Twitter?
Okay, yes, of course.
So I don't know if y'all saw this or not. And we do need to give credit where credit is due, where we're having queens who are being brought onto the show who are transgender, and it's like no longer that's their storyline. And a lot of that has to do with like the queens like Gia and Sonique and all these other queens that came before, right? And Jiggly and Peppermint. And Gia tweeted, I'm so happy for the doors that I've opened to see another a trans queen come on for like their first time or something. It was basically like, look at the doors that I've opened, that we have somebody be on who didn't even have to say I'm a trans queen or whatever, really. Like whatever. And Gottmik responded and was like, wow, I love my fake season. And then Chia said, let me clarify, trans women. Yeah, it's just like that moment where Gottmik had like so many more.
That was so funny. Yeah, it was like, I love my
energy.
So happy to see a trans person on actual season.
Oh damn, she got ratioed. Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
woo,
badly, like 1-9 ratio.
Dang, 2000 to 18.
I know.
Baby.
That was a moment, but I just wanted to bring that up for two reasons. One, because it's fun to discuss, but secondly, because I do think that is an important fact here, that we have a trans contestant whose storyline isn't I'm trans, and like we can allow them to just be who they are and enjoy them for the art that they are. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I can't wait for the rest of the world to catch up to those kind of things. But
it's awesome too, interesting rather, because Carrie was talking about, when she walked into the room, about how she's done pageants and she comes from like a legacy, or I know how she hasn't done pageants, but she comes from a legacy that does pageants. And I thought that was very interesting, because she looks like she'd be a pageant queen. But so I was like, what do you do then, girl? Like if beauty isn't like your like main shtick in drag, then like what is? So I'm very interested to see what else she brings. I'm surprised she's from Texas, because like RuPaul said, she don't sound. I'm tired of people from Texas not sounding like they are from Texas. Even people that we know, like Jacob Jones does not sound like he's from Texas. Chappelle does not sound like he's from Texas. I'm tired of these fake ass Texans. Like Make
Asia
Texas
also.
accents a thing
Asia,
again. I'm over
Yeah.
it. Like,
Oh man.
So there's one other thing I want to say about Carrie because I guess two things. So one, when Rue is doing the walkthrough and is talking to Carrie about, you know, a little bit of parental relationships, there's some drama there for Rue to mine, which is, a
Mhm.
good thing potentially for her chances because here's some things
I'm
we
your
can
mama now.
manipulate about you when, her and her mom are not really speaking. But then the one other thing that I did notice, this is so incredibly subtle and no one else probably cares, but Rue sets her up for a joke. When she's like, "Oh, so you did double Dutch," which I assume is a joke and not a
Yeah.
genuine question because it's double Dutch, which is hilarious when you
Right.
make an
Mhm.
innuendo about it. And
I
she
missed
just
that.
completely whoosh, like right over her head. Now, of course, you're nervous. You're talking to RuPaul maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
Totally get it. But that was just like immediately I was like, "Oh no, girl." Sense of humor.
How's your head?
Please, yeah. How's your head? Yeah. No complaints, please.
No
Just
complaints.
say it.
I feel like the little Rue talks were interesting this time around because I mean normally he does it for like the walkthrough, but there's like
Mhm.
so little queens and so many of them were just sort of just like watching the other, because I imagine the producers are like, okay, everybody shut the hell up one set while RuPaul's talking, like we don't want you guys talking in the background, so they literally don't have anything else to do but just sit there and watch the other queens get interviewed by Rue. And I thought
Pretend
that was
that
very
they're
interesting.
steaming an outfit.
Yeah, they're like listening, like, wait, what's she doing for the maxi challenge? Oh, okay. So that's like interesting to me because I feel like it sort of like puts more pressure on the queens. I mean, you already have the pressure from talking to RuPaul himself, and then you have, so your all of your answers are also being heard and analyzed by your fellow competitors. So I feel like that just sort of like adds a little bit of a tension to the room during those moments.
Absolutely. Just thinking, like, the only other time that you've spoken to RuPaul one-on-one is when you were being spun around on a wheel getting your photo taken. So this is like the
Right.
Yeah.
first time you now get to actually have a conversation. And it's just like, guys, I was saving this for just RuPaul. So if you could like maybe not listen right now, that'd be
Oh,
great.
during the mini challenge when they showed that shot, I think it was like I forget who it was, either Willow Pill or Cornbread, and they showed like the point of view from the spinning wheel, and it's just nothing but like a camera in your face, RuPaul just laughing, and like darkness in the background. I was like, what is going on? Get him off, get him out of there. Like this is not it. This is some Get Out shit. Like,
This is some Get Out shit.
you just hear her like cackling in the background. I was like, I would have quit right then and there. Nope, no.
That's
I'm
worse than
being Dr.
Dragula.
Lucas.
That's an extermination challenge right there. Can you survive a room where you have to be spun in on a wheel where RuPaul's just laughing at you in a dark
This is
room?
like some hypnotism shit. I was not for it.
I'd be
at
like,
all.
bring on the leeches. I'd rather do that. Get me shot.
Bury you in a coffin. No, the next thing they're gonna do is take them and stick them in those funhouse mirrors. That's like it's just the terrifying carnival. It gets worse and worse and worse as we
Oh
go.
my god.
The thing about the walkthroughs that I noticed, and of course I like can't help but notice, is of course the the manipulation of trauma, and I felt like we did get a lot of that. I'm hoping that it doesn't completely overwhelm this season. Of course, I think it's extremely important for the queens to feel comfortable being able to share their stories because it can, if they want. Obviously, they don't
Right.
have to. They have no responsibility to do so. But if they want to do that, then it can help others who are watching the show. And so we get Willow, sharing a little bit more about her disease and the darkness. But when Rue was like, "So tell me about the darkness," it just felt really awkward.
Yeah.
He's like, so what do you take your medicine for?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mm.
I feel like if Willow wanted to say that, they would have said, this is the disease I have and I have to take medicine for it. But the fact that like I don't know. I really don't like people manipulating medical back. Like people being like, what do you have? It seems like it's so rude.
That's a nice disease you have. That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be good for production.
More about that?
Is it painful? Like, is there like lots of like pain involved?
Oh, you've had your kidneys have shut down?
Oh, it's
hug me.
terminal? You're going to die soon? Oh,
okay. So we'll keep you on until at least episode
We'll give
5.
you a hug. Let me hug you.
I'm your white blood cells now. Like, I mean, like that's the stuff that like RuPaul would do, and you're like, ugh.
So you really need the 100,000, don't you? Okay. We'll keep you on until episode like 9 and then cut you at the very end.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the three of us have this on lock. Maybe we should be the new RuPaul. Have no drag experience between the three of us. And we'll be like, okay, so now we're going to send these 3 podcasters to come talk to you about your runway stuff. And we just go through and go, so tell me a little bit about your relationship with your dad.
So you guys aren't speaking,
Yeah. And how does that pain make you feel?
If you had to describe that pain in 5 words, what would they be?
Show me on the drag queen where the pain really.
Show me on the puppet. Where did he touch you?
Oh man.
Oh God. Anyway, so all right. Yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about June Jambalaya, just like in general, because June was someone who I know we had talked in the preview. Like I had felt a little nervous about her. And I think you guys shared somewhat similar concerns. Her confessionals were fabulous. She's obviously a little bit more soft spoken, but I was loving her on the show.
What I love about her is that not only is it just what she's saying is like, I'm just going to give you exactly how I feel. But I like that we have somebody who's not like, I don't know, like super loud about it, who's just like, there's a quiet confidence there that I love about her. And she's just like, yeah, I'm going to do it like this. And y'all better watch out. And I'm like, oh, I like that. You don't have someone who's like yelling into the camera. Like we've seen so many queens in the past do that. And I love that there's that quiet confidence and a little soft spokenness.
I was nervous, man. I was nervous. I was like, I didn't drafted this bitch. And now she about to go home first. I was like, damn it. But she pulled it out. She pulled it out. I mean, I must say like her talent. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, none of the talents were, well, one of them was kind of
one of them was questionable.
So, but it was that damn hairpiece. Glue your shit down, queens. Glue it down.
At that point, pull it down and just keep going. Like I don't
keep it around your
trying
neck.
to fix it.
Keep it a neck. Yeah, exactly. Like do what you need to do.
Oh man.
Okay, well, so let's talk about the main challenge. We already discussed this a little bit, the fact that we're bringing the talent show to a regular season. So we have the CNT talent show, the charisma, nerve, and talent show. All it's missing is you, which I thought was cute. And I did think they did this last year when it was I don't know, whatever the songs were that they were doing. It was something with promoting the Work the World tour, which I thought was insensitive at the time, given like, the whole pandemic of it all. And they continue to do that here, which given the whole pandemic of it all, like I get it, but
which is also like coming weeks after like the Murray and Peter one had to cancel the rest of their tour because of like production members getting sick.
That's what I'm saying, is that it's when Omicron we are getting the highest cases we've ever had, depending on the state. So it just felt really like, oh God, could we not have just like cut that part? I mean,
or if you can't cut it, then make another screen that says, hey, we're sorry that this was already edited and in the can, and this we're acknowledging that this is irresponsible. We just want to put that out there.
I mean, I guess they're still going forward. Let's see, Work the World. Let's see, tour.
I mean, people are trying to tour. Artists are trying to go back on tour. Like they don't give a damn. Like they want their money,
Yeah.
So
I
don't blame them for it, but at the same time, I don't know. I just kind of Work the World. I feel like there's a little bit more responsibility for them to be more responsible in this kind of messaging, because I believe World of Wonder is a partner in their production. So it's like, if you have the mass media way to literally on RuPaul's Drag Race promote, hey, it's a pandemic, go out there and see our queens, I feel like that's just like a little different. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like you should be, and I'm going to put this out there too. There are ways to support your favorite drag queens and artists and all that kind of stuff without going to a large show, which is buy their merch, tip them on their various different cash apps, like those kind of things too. But I mean, people do what they need to do.
It's still going on. I mean, it's scheduled for the summer, so maybe things will be better by then.
Yeah, hopefully,
hopefully they're starting in Florida, so that makes sense.
I mean,
that
there's
does not bode well for the rest of the tour. We're going to start in the worst place and get sick and cancel.
Anyway, as long as they're being safe, that's all we can hope for. Okay. Yes. So main challenge, we'll get into, the various queens' performances, but we have to start out with one queen's performance. And that is our very own RuPaul Charles, who decided to grace us with a little number of her own at the start of the show. Now, we talked a little bit briefly pre-show, so I know that that everybody here has some thoughts about this particular performance.
I mean, it was so good. I was like, why are we even showing queens with actual talent? Like this,
no need.
This is amazing. We can just watch a cardboard cutout, essentially, of RuPaul on stage walk to the left, then to the right, to the back of the stage, back to the front, and not even know the words to his own song. I mean, come on. Pretty amazing.
Just outstanding.
I loved it.
Yes, be the Lizzo of the panel. Come on, come for us.
I loved it. Look, I don't really listen to RuPaul's music. I don't be really giving a shit. But I was like, I was, cleaning my my house the other day, just running some errands. Like my office closed on Friday because we had like a bit of a snowstorm. So I was just like, oh, free day to just, catch up on life stuff. And I was just like scrolling through Apple Music, and I just kept seeing advertisements for Mama Ru, like her new album that came out on the 7th, the same day as the premiere. And I was like, okay, let me just, let me put on some RuPaul. And I was like, okay. There's a couple bops here. I like this little cute project. And then Catwalk came on, and I was like, this is going to be the song for the runway. This is going to be the song for the runway. It's giving very much like Mighty Love vibes from season 11. It's giving very much groove. Like this is it. This is the song that they come out and they're just like, and you feel your oats. And then when she came out, and that song was playing, I was like, oh, yes, I knew it. So maybe this is a little bit more self-congratulatory than it necessarily need be. But I still was feeling it. Like RuPaul is like getting up there in age, right? Like, you can't be a shimmy shaker forever. You shake a little bit too hard, something comes loose after a certain age. So I won't.
Yeah, I'm 33 and I can't shake it anymore. So
I won't be mad at him just, walking and, doing what he needs to do. I thought it was like, just cute. It wasn't anything spectacular, no. But I mean, it's what he normally does anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I just like the song a lot. I like the song, and I'm a fan of it.
The song was good.
Yeah.
The dancers were good.
I don't know if RuPaul is responsible for half the work on that album, but I like it.
Just the parts where they sing.
Like about 50% of the vocals, because the rest is auto-tune. Look, RuPaul's music has been with me. I was telling Puya this earlier because I was like, I don't know what I want to listen to, so I just opened up like YouTube to just like play songs, and it's like 50% Little Mix, 30% Drag Race music, 20% RuPaul. Whittle Mix. Oh God, don't do this to me. So I would be a hypocrite when I'm like listening and not so secret. But I think for me, it's just the contrast between having RuPaul do just the Mariah Carey, like, let me just sort of like stand here and chill.
Critique queens with talent. That's the thing.
Yes, and then have June Jambalaya come out and do absolutely amazing, professional African dance styles next. That was just the like funny thing for me, is to have those two things back to back. So.
I'm sorry, I'm going to put that out there too. Obviously, Catwalk is a bop in its own way, but then have Cornbread come out with an original song that is entertaining in so many other ways, in addition to sounding good. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Cornbread's single, where is it? Where do I buy it? Because it was so good. When she said she was going to be I have a million thoughts. First of all, it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It was such a bop. I was like, this is legitimately good, because sometimes queens come out and do their own song and it's like, yeah, this is fine. But this was actually genuinely shot to the top of my list of music that I wanted to listen to. That and then the fact that she was telling all the queens in the workroom, I'm going to eat 100 hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to see that though.
But I love her playing the game.
Yeah,
I love her playing the game. I'm gonna psych y'all out. I'm actually gonna do my own song and all of that.
This is some All-Stars 8 audition material right here.
If she wins, I still want her on All Stars. I don't care. I want her on All Stars now.
I can imagine she'll be back. Well, we'll see. But anyway, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was fat. I was gagged. I was gagged. I was gooped. It was
No,
amazing.
yeah, it was great, and I was so scared though because when they were doing like the talks with her, I was like, damn it, like because she had already convinced the queens that she was eating all those hot dogs. It's like, well, now when is she going to lie to RuPaul too? Like, but then they didn't show
Right.
her
That
getting
would have been
talked to,
so
so
good. That would have been
yeah.
so good if she was like, I'm going to be doing professional eating, and then came up on stage, and then RuPaul's like, I thought you were going to do professional eating. And then she's like, well,
She did. I did eat. I ate the girls up, baby.
I ate the chicken wing on my necklace. Like it was so good.
So yes, that was a bop. Again, I did a 30-second Google search. So if someone can tell me where to find it, please send that my way. Okay. Any other performances you guys want to talk about?
I think we need to talk about Orion's.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I figured out what Orion's issue is.
Okay, tell us.
Orion has no fear of failing, which is wonderful, but doesn't have self-awareness. And I think it's a really interesting mix, and that's like what makes I think some things like more awkward, rather because you're like, yeah, you have like, you don't have a fear of failure, you have like a lot of self-confidence, which is fantastic, and we'd love to see that, but you also don't have the self-awareness to understand contextually maybe how you're coming off, or the ability to read what would make your audience right there laugh. And I think that is what the missing ingredient for Orion is. Because I will say this, I loved her runway. I loved her entrance look. I have loved every look from the promo onwards. I don't always like her makeup, but that's a me thing. That's like, who gives a shit what Beth thinks about her makeup? You know what I mean? I think the one thing that she's missing is that self-awareness or people reading, like that. It's like a slash. I think that's her issue. And it comes across as awkward and not as fun to go on the ride with her.
I think Ross put it best when he said, we just sort of like witnessed a workshop of the character. I think it had, like, there were moments where some of the jokes landed, but the unfortunate reality is that most of it did not land. And I think it could have been a really good one if she maybe you fine tune some of those jokes a little bit more. Maybe your delivery needs to be, maybe you need to go a little further with the character. It did feel a little, I feel like you could have done more. Maybe have some props, maybe have one of your titties
have a
fall
soundtrack
out.
of some sort in the background too, because it is deafening
It
when
was
something's
dead.
not
It was dead,
landing.
yeah.
It's awkward.
Yeah. I love that the queens were like super supportive. Like Carrie's but they're like, okay, yeah. Like, they're just like so
Now,
I mean she definitely, you know, had some support in the audience, but yeah, it just didn't, it just wasn't landing. I think that it just, yeah, unfortunately.
she talks about it a little bit, I think it was in Untucked. Now I can't remember, but how
So, yeah.
she had to leave her apartment right as she had to leave for Drag Race. And so she wanted to do her own song, but didn't have time to record it. And so she ended up having to go with this. But I totally agree that it did feel like, even though you're having to do it last minute, it didn't feel fully fleshed out, and that could be a product of she just didn't have the time to work on it.
She
But
probably thought they were going to have like a full premiere and she might be able to skate by with
possible.
14 other queens. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was also, and I don't want to compare too much, but it was semi-similar to what Crystal Method had done previously with that kind of like workout routine that was for something. Anyway, and it was just not as, you can't help but sort of think about that, and it just wasn't as funny or fleshed out. And so I think that was also sort of part of the issue there. And I totally understand why she ended up in the bottom. But I think to look at Orion's in contrast with Willow's, you could look at that and say, like, those are both two super surreal pieces of art, like performance art. So explain to me why Willow is in the top and Orion is in the bottom too. I think that
because Willow showed and did not tell. Like, I feel like maybe if there was some sort of like dialogue or something with Willow, then maybe would have been like, oh, let's not do that. Okay, but she should have just like she showed us her heart instead of telling us her heart. So I think that really put her over the edge.
I did think with Willow's for a second, it was going to be that Enya Lil Jon remix song. You know what I'm talking about? I've seen it on TikTok.
I would have loved that.
Get crunk with it. Get loose with it. Like transitions into that. That's what I thought it was gonna be at first. But I think the moment I liked about Willow's the most was when she she grabs the toaster and you're like, oh my God, she's gonna electrocute herself in
Oh
the
yeah,
bathtub.
that's
And
what I
then
thought
toast
too.
just pops up.
It's
That
so
was my
good.
like personal favorite moment. But otherwise, yeah, totally weird. Super
But
weird.
that's the thing. If she didn't have the toaster, that whole thing would have fallen apart.
Mm.
Like it literally landed on, will people get the toaster? That's literally it. Because if it didn't, it'd be like, what did I just watch? And there's no point to it. But the
Mhm.
point with her, with the toaster was it. I loved it after the toaster, but leading up to it, I was like, what am I watching?
What is going on?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I had something similar. And then I'm not saying that made everything else make sense, but at least I maybe sort of got it a little bit more.
Right.
But
Yeah.
another queens I want to talk about is Bosco's because look, I was very high on Bosco going into the season. Beth, Bosco was your first pick. Totally to me, it was like, yes, that makes sense. So when Bosco described, yes, I'm going to do burlesque, but with the comedy cheeky side of it. Of course, my first thought was Ben de la Creme and All Stars
Right.
with the burlesque, but then all of the nipple tassels kind of joke.
Mhm.
For me, I was like, what's the funny part?
I
The flower in the
100%
back?
agree.
Like
I 100%
coming
agree.
out of her butt crack, like the bussy flower.
And the thing about the flowers for me, like the petals weren't pedaling. Like he loves you not,
Yeah.
bro. Like all of them were like all the way down here. I was like, so the illusion is already gone for me.
But also,
But-
she was walking and was sideways when she was like, you go to the front and do that if you're gonna, I don't know.
Or like something to make it more or maybe like I just didn't get it. Like she loves me not, like
Mhm.
something more with
Yeah.
that. I felt like it was one of those moments where I had high expectations and it wasn't
Yeah.
bad. It was
No.
fine. But of all the burlesque that we've seen, Ben de la Creme did it better with the comedy. And then
Mhm.
Roxy Andrews did
Roxy-
it better. Because you can't beat
Just-
Roxy Andrews
Yeah,
because she's
just the
sexy as
showmanship
fuck.
of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Speaking of
yeah.
attractive queen. So and then Bosco's attitude in Untucked also was just a little bit like this is leaning towards overconfidence cockiness for me. Which I'm not saying that that's going to necessarily hurt her in the competition, but what if she gets criticism? Is she going to be able to take it? Because we heard Ru say at the beginning of the runway criticism nonsense, listen to what we are saying. And so I wonder if that's going to come back at some point. And I feel like Bosco could be one of the queens that suffers from not hearing the criticism.
I did catch that too. Go ahead, Beth.
No, I'm just going to say, I think that'll be interesting to watch. I think when I think of overconfident queens where it's worked for them in the competition, I think of people like Violet. And I could see that with Bosco because it seems like they have some similarities, with their some of their drag aesthetics come from like very different points of view, but there will always have that somewhat burlesque, high fashion Dita Von Teese. Oh my God, Ritz. Good job.
Dita Von Ritz. Like Dita Ritz mixed with Dita Von Teese. Yeah.
That's amazing. Actually, somebody should be that drag queen. I'm putting it out there. I need a burlesque Chicago queen. It would be so good.
Dita Von Ritz. The Ritz bitch.
Oh,
no, but I caught that too, Liana. Like there was like a little bit of a tense moment whenever they were going over the critiques in Untucked, and they were all giving Willow Pill her flowers, especially Cornbread, saying like, I misjudged you. I thought that that look that you came in with was was a little suspect, but you turned it out and you were that bitch. You probably got the best critiques out of the entire group. And Bosco just felt the need to put herself in there saying, well, not everybody. And she's like, well, yeah, everybody, because she got the best critiques. And Bosco's like, well, they didn't give you any critiques. I was like, well, okay, well, then by definition, then yes, she got the best critiques. If you didn't get any critiques, then that means that she got the best ones. So I was like, okay, Bosco's like, what's going on here? Like, are you feeling yourself? You smelling yourself? That's your upper lip, bitch. Like, calm down. Like, so we'll see what happens.
Your upper lip.
All right. Are there any runways in particular that you want to talk about? Because I'll kick things off for me, and we haven't talked a lot about her in general, but Alyssa Hunter, her performance was fine. I'm happy that she did the rock performance, but like I agreed with the judges. It did feel one note, although the criticism of like, we're supposed to know who you are. Shoot me.
No, I agree with them on this. This is the one opportunity. There are 7 queens there. We're focusing on trying to get to know who you are. We give you the opportunity to show who you are. And her one thing that she said in the confessional was, this is not who Alyssa Hunter is. So I think this is going to help me. And I was like, you're dumb if you think that. That is absolutely, they literally set this up for you to say, who are you? Show us who you are. Show us your talent. Show us these things.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
fair. I
Yeah.
kind of, I agreed with them on that.
She's lovely. She's lovely to look at.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I mean, she's
gorge.
gorgeous. And I was definitely also like, como estas,
fair.
puedes casarme con la noche. Like, I was
Prayed.
like, but yeah, no, I sort of agree. It's a little, I feel like a lot of her stuff was sort of disjointed. I feel like she came in wanting to do a bunch of things, and it just sort of didn't really land.
She literally talks that she wants to be versatile, right?
Yeah, and I was like, don't verse yourself out of the bed, sis. Like, you need to figure this out right now, because yeah, and then she was like, talking about like, oh, I love to play the guitar, I love rock and roll. It's like, well, then you didn't do either of those things. You didn't play the guitar, and it was just like,
oh yeah, when I said they all clocked her
guitar without any cords connected to that guitar, nor was there any receiver on it. And then she was also wearing those gloves. I was like, there is no way. There is no way she's playing that guitar.
And then all the other queens clock her.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you said you're going to play the guitar. That is not playing the guitar. That's like not even
miming.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But her runway, the My Fair Lady runway.
That was my favorite runway.
It was so good. I thought it was so pretty. It was so pretty. It just ostrich feathers, darling. Really well put together. So I think she's going to bring a lot of fabulous looks. I'm hoping that we get to know more about her as the season progresses.
I think that that's the one thing that hurts, quote unquote, can hurt pageant queens is that they're used to having to do everything for a score without actually having to show who they truly are. Now, obviously, the best queens do both and are versatile in a variety of different ways. And I think she's so overthinking the like pageantry of Drag Race that her ability to like, yes, it's a pageant, but it's mostly a reality show. So we need to see who you are as a part of the reality show. I think that that's the part that she's missing and overthinking. But clearly she has more than enough chops for this show.
Well, no, Cornbread really got her together, like from jump. Like when she walked in, and Cornbread was like, "Tell us about yourself. Like, what do you do?" And Cornbread's like, "Well, I do." Or Alyssa said, "I do everything."
Yep.
And she's like, "Well, hold on. Like when you say you do everything, they all usually cut to you doing nothing." And it's not that she didn't do nothing. Like she didn't do nothing. Like she did what she needed to do. But yeah, like you do sort of need to focus on one thing. Like yes, it's amazing. All these queens, the future queens, past queens. It's amazing that you're all so talented. It's amazing that you can dance and you can sing and you can sew and you can lip sync and paint your nails. It's amazing that you're talented at all those things, but with cook and clean and all that stuff. Lovely.
Oh my god, cooking challenge
again.
Yeah, we do need that kind of. We should get that. But you need, like, RuPaul's Drag Race is all about branding. It's all about marketing. It's a competition that's supposed to be bite-sized, digestible bits for the viewer and for RuPaul because he's getting old and needs his food cut up for him. And it is what it is. So you just need to be able to package yourself in a way that is easy to understand. And if you don't do it, if you can't follow that, then you're out the door. So hopefully Alyssa can figure that out and, we see a little bit more from her.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other runway looks that y'all want to talk about?
Willow Pill was giving the claw from Toy Story.
No, not the Toy Story aliens.
That's all that I could see the entire time.
I just loved that Michelle Visage hated it so much because of the color. I think that's the thing. People just were like, oh, we don't like the color. And I was like, okay, well, it's like a house. If you don't like a house that has the color, like, You could paint it another color. So do you like everything else about it, or is the color really the issue here? And she didn't get like any critiques other than we don't like the color green.
And the Kermit the Frog hands. Don't forget the Kermit the
Well,
Frog
yeah.
hands.
Which I thought that was great.
Right. Yeah.
I loved Bosco, or not Bosco, the girl that just went home. What's her name?
Orion.
Oh, Orion's. Yeah.
I loved
Victoria's.
Orion's look.
It was very Cindy Lou Whore. I enjoyed that a lot. Nice homage to Evie Oddly.
Well, and it allowed RuPaul to make a cotton picking joke.
Yeah, that was a choice.
It was a choice.
That was a choice.
And Lizzo kind of skated the line too with like the whole KKK joke with
Carrie.
Too. I was like, okay, there's lots of race jokes going on today. Y'all feeling frisky? Like, what's going on? Like,
oh man.
But yeah, this is why I'm still hoping, even though I do agree with you guys, when the letters were read, when Orion got letters from the other girls, it's like, oh, okay, it's probably over. But I want to see more because the looks, Beth, what you were saying, that they're really interesting. And it was, we talked about this in the promo, or the preview, that was, oh, does she really want to be here? Her mom seems to be the one who's pushing her. But then she talks about how much she loves making her own looks. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So this is where a lot of your inspiration comes from. That's the thing that you're passionate about, which means that the looks that she brings to the runway, I think are going to be stunned. And so I'd love to see more of those, but we may never get that. But we can always follow her on Insta.
Exactly. She'll post them on Instagram.
Exactly.
See it that way.
Okay. I think that does it. No, it doesn't. One more look I do want to discuss. Willow's entrance look. I just walked into the mall with the platform flip-flops, the angle shirt, giving me life. I remember everybody looking at Evie oddly when she came in with the race car and like, and we've seen this happen even from as early as season 3 with Raja with the weird like monster eye felt hat thing. So I just love the queens.
Jujubee has been on like 7 seasons and has worn outfits like she's at the mall, and she has been fine on the show.
Yeah. So no need to worry.
Yeah, I liked it. I agree with what Carrie said in Untucked. It was very irreverent. It was very, it was meant to sort of like, everybody walks in with like glitz and glam, but you don't need to do that. It's just the entrance look. Like, I mean, you want to make an impression. You want to look good. Don't come in, looking like freaking what's her face. Why am I having such trouble with
Monet Exchange?
That one too. But I was talking about.
Is it bad that that's where my brain went? Come on, bodysuits.
But a leotard. Honey, this is all stars.
Kitty growing. Yeah.
It's not stunning. I live for Monique Hart, like always reading Monet in the entire.
It's so good. It's so good.
Same.
But no, I was talking about she was just on All Star 6. What is her name? Season 7 as well. Why can I not remember her name?
Ginger.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me today? As long as you're not looking like that, like a glamour toad, then you should be fine.
Let's be honest with that. That was the worst entrance look of any season of all time, and I love Ginger Midge. That was awful.
Yeah.
It didn't even say toad. It didn't, let alone glamour toad.
It said something.
You were missing both parts of the assignment. Fail. All right. Well, next week we are getting the second half of the premiere. So we're going to meet the 7 remaining queens, and we're going to have special guest Alicia Keys, which I'm also very excited for. And we are getting another round of the talent show. So good. We'll get to see what the queens bring to the stage. I have one more thing that I want to put y'all on, and this is about Maddie Morphosis. So Alaska, I think it's on Willem's channel though. So they did a parody. It was called The Queens They Don't Want You to Meet. And Alaska does a parody of Maddie Morphosis, and it is so funny. It is every stereotype about straight drag queens. It's just it was so funny. So check that out. That's your homework before next week's podcast. But that does it here for us. So Aman, where can people find you on social media? What are you up to?
You can find me at Amon Adwin on Twitter and Instagram, as well as Twitch. Back here obviously for Drag Race. Still got my ugly podcast going on over at the Choir Room with Matt Ligori. And I am now covering Euphoria on HBO Max with Grace over on Post Show Recap. So if you're into season 2, I think the premiere is actually later tonight. So yeah, check us out over there as well.
Perfect. And Beth, what about you?
You can find me at AugustaWind11 on all of my social media platforms, including Twitch. Still on My Weekly Meltdown. We're in the off season right now of like Big Brother, that kind of stuff. So we've been doing Brilliant Steals and just silly shows. You can also catch me on Hot Mess Moments with Dylan Zahner, where we're talking about Lost and The Nanny. We're getting towards the end of season 2 of both shows. So it's been a fun journey.
All right, fabulous. And you can
one last thought that I had. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I forgot about freaking during Willow Pill's performance when she pours the wine into the tub and then she pours the spaghetti into the tub and then it cuts to the judges and Willow or Lizzo is like, bitch, what the fuck, girl? I would have ate that. I died.
The judges' reactions were everything.
Well, that was it.
All right, good. No, and with that, we'll leave you with that. You can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. Please leave your star ratings and reviews for us on iTunes. You can easily do that by going to robhasawebsite.com/drag race. Thank you to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes for all of his fabulous work, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.